En Lincoln se habla principalmente español. Si siguen preguntando a qué me refiero, quédense aquí. La respuesta llegará. Les hablo John Paulus. Están escuchando ustedes Life's Potluck Buffet. How did I do? Okay, if you don't speak Spanish, or if you do speak Spanish and you're like, what on earth was John talking about? Let me tell you in English what I was trying to say. That in Lincoln, they mainly speak Spanish. And if you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, stick around. The answer is forthcoming. This is John Paulus. You're listening to Life's Potluck Buffet. I won't do the musical soundbite again, but you get the point. Yeah, on yesterday's episode, I was talking about Lincolnshire in England. And so it might surprise listeners that in Lincoln, they speak only Spanish. It will especially surprise listeners from Lincoln in Lincolnshire in England, because in Lincolnshire, England, hurricanes hardly happen. No, that's not it. That's in Hartford, Hereford, Hampshire. Wait, what in England? How do you say Hampshire? Do you say Hampshire? Please let me know if you're from Hampshire in England. If you're from New Hampshire, don't worry about it. If you're from Boston, then it's New Hampshire. So you know how to say that. So in Lincolnshire, obviously the main language spoken is English. But I wasn't talking about Lincoln in Lincolnshire. I'm talking about Lincoln, which is a city in Argentina. That's right. Lincoln is a place in the province of Buenos Aires in Argentina that is about a 4-hour drive from the kind of downtown area of Buenos Aires, at least right now. So if you hit the road right now, you'll be there in 3 hours and 53 minutes. It seems like on Google Maps. So this episode's only going to be a few more minutes, so you're going to want to have a longer play. Oh, there's probably about 3 hours and 53 minutes of Life's Potluck Buffet episodes that you could listen to. So you could listen to the next, I don't know, several hours. It can get you all the way to Buenos Aires. So, but I guess you need to, if you don't mind listening to me for 3 hours and 53 minutes in English. So now, what is special about Lincoln? A lot is special about Lincoln. Well worth a trip, it looks like. I've been looking at a lot of videos about Lincoln and reading up on it. Their big thing seems to be the Carnival. And in fact, I guess we just missed it because earlier this week, it's February 18th. So Tuesday, February 13th was the big blowout. But they had events. I looked at the event calendar, and they have lots of events leading up to that, as most places that celebrate Carnival do. So that is next year. Next year, make it a point to consider Lincoln for your Carnival plans. They have lots of floats and lots of just everything. They also do samba stuff, like as they do in Brazil. So there's that, and there is also a like this kind of specialty paper mache muñecos, as they call them. The what do we call those in English? Like the big float thing, the big puppet things. I don't know if we call them puppets when they're that large. Yeah, I guess we do call them puppets still. Anyway, it's they're large figures, and they're made out of cartapesta. That was my Italian, because they use the word cartapesta in Lincoln. I guess because they're Italian. There's an Italian heritage connection to this. So they call it cartapesta, which is paper mache in English. Well, it's paper mache in anglicized French, I guess. Papier mache, I think, is the French pronunciation of it. Papel mache is, I think, normal in Spanish for carta pesta. But I got that Italian vibe going today. If you're an Italian speaker listening, you let me know. I feel like I really had an Italian vibe with that last one, and the one before that. So that is a really good thing to see. There, they have a museum dedicated to these figures and to the carnival, and so that's another thing to see. It seems like a nice place. So it's got a population of about 28,000 people or so. So kind of chill vibe. Except for Carnival, when it's really happening. Lots of parties going on. A place to go. So that's Lincoln. Oh, by the way, it's not named after Lincoln in Lincolnshire. It's named after Abraham Lincoln, who was a president of the United States. You probably know that if you're listening to this. I think. Yeah, you probably know that. Famous enough. Well, after Lincoln was assassinated on April 15th of 1865, a couple of months later, actually, I think it was in July of 1865, the Argentinians decided to, in honor of Lincoln, name this new town in honor of the late president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Except in Spanish, you pronounce the L. Or at least that's what I heard on all the videos I watched. So it's Lincoln. That L comes from. If you're wondering where that L actually comes from, that's because Lincoln in Lincolnshire, it was originally Lindum Colonia, which was its Roman name. The Lindum apparently comes from a local word for lake or pond, and the area had the people in the area that were there before the Romans were the Corotani, and they spoke a Celtic language, which probably means they counted sheep, a lot like Farmer Wink from that video from yesterday. And eventually from Lindum Colonia, you get Lin Colonia and Lincoln. That's where that came from. There are a lot of cities like that have that Roman colony name, like Köln or Cologne in Germany is a Colonia, right? That's where that word comes from as well. And I found out, and this is a good thing, that it got shortened because the original Roman colony was called Colonia Claudia Ara Agrippinensium. That is I won't go into detail about that, but that is a long name. So it's a good thing that obviously that's why it got shortened, because day 2 of saying that they're like, oh no, I just mean Colonia. You know what I'm talking about, that new Colonia. So, in honor of Lincoln in Argentina, we are going to draw a card from the Life's Potluck Buffet card deck, and on the bottom is card 15, Quince in Lincoln. Speak where you want to be, and the way will appear. You remember what 15 was in Lincolnshire? Yeah, it was Boomfit. You got it. All right. So, here we go. Yellow lemons, blue dumplings, magenta noodles, cards. Tell us some things. This is a tough one. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there are 4 areas that look like the same height, but I see one card that I think is the answer that stands above the rest. Yep, and this is it. Please don't be Passions Are for Hobbies. Oh, it's card 22. Wait, we just talked about catch 22, so now we get card 22. Some small action you did ended up being big. Often what seems like a small thing becomes a big thing, and what seems like a big thing ends up being inconsequential. So start with something that you considered absolutely trivial that resulted in you encountering a person or an opportunity that led to something big. Give that a thought today, and I'll see you tomorrow on Life's Potluck Buffet.